In this episode, we uncover the history and beauty of Notwane. Notwane is a residential area located just a stone throw away from the capital city of Gaborone. Notwane is flanked by the famous Notwane River and Notwane Dam. The banks of Notwane River have been in occupation since the Middle Stone Age. The Notwane River is quite iconic since it flows directly into the Gaborone Dam. The Tswanas, British imperial colonialists and Rhodesian armies fought the South African Boer farmer regiments at the end of the 19th century in the Second Anglo-Boer War between 1899 to 1902. In Bechuanaland, many battles took place in the hills and along the railway line which went through the Crocodile Pools and Notwane area. This was of strategic military importance to the outcome of the war generally. Crocodile Pools proved to be the most strategically vulnerable point on the railway line, running between Mafikeng and Bulawayo, for nearby the line crossed the Metsimazwana River Bridge, nestled between the gorges of Basuto Kop, Mokolodi Hill and Fortress Kop, which were only a couple of 100 meters away from the international border between Bechuanaland Protectorate and South Africa. The winning of the Battle of Crocodile Pools in February 1900 enabled the end of the Boers' 217 days of siege of Mafikeng until when it was freed by British forces on 17th May 1900. Notwane is also home to Crocodile Pools River Safaris, which was founded in 2018. Located just 15 minutes away from Gaborone, Crocodile Pools Safari is the only boat cruise service provider in the entire southern half of Botswana.
Dumela from Crocodile Pools River Safaris, the only river safari cruise company in the southern half of Botswana. Established in 2019, February, we've just gone a year old, and we're only 15 kilometers south of Gaborone. So no need to travel or drive or fly to Kasane or Maun. Come and bring your family for a beautiful solar-powered cruise on the wonderful Notwane River to see wild crocodiles, Botswana's 4 largest reptiles, about 40% of all of our bird species, and game animals as well. So here we are on the banks of the Notwane River, which is the international border between South Africa in the background, and here we are in Botswana, standing on Gaborone's largest decking, which is our newly founded restaurant cafe at the side of the river. Come and enjoy lunch with your family any day except Mondays when we're closed. We are the only river safari company in the southern half of Botswana. Now the Notwane Dam and the river behind me is of important significance, to the history of Botswana. Having written the book Crocodile Pools, History and Biodiversity back in 2011, that book actually has formed the basis of our new safari company, whose directors are myself, Mike, and Dudu, my wife. My wife of 35 years, who I met in Lubatsi back in 1984. The river is very important. Before the dam was built in 1959, so it's as old as I am, there was relics found on the river dating back 500,000 years ago. So citizens have lived here for many, many thousands of years. But in more recent history, the dam is important because this dam, the Notwane Dam, provided the water supply before Gaborone Dam was built 5 years later. So the water from this dam was actually used to build the new Gaborone, the capital city of Gaborone, named after Kgosi Gaborone from Clokwing, when Mafikeng, the capital then in Botswana, moved to Gaborone. In Gaborone there was nothing except a railway station and a few trading stores. There was no water in Gaborone, so the water from this dam was used to build the Parliament building, the old mall, we all know the old mall, going down to the council and the museum, and a lot of the annexes of Parliament as well. So it was only 5 years later that the Gaborone Dam was built. This dam was established, as I say, in 1959, but not for water supply for people. Interestingly, it supplied water for the steam engines operating along the railway line just in front of us. The Rhodesian railways in those days. Botswana Railways became Botswana Railways only in 1986, when the strip of land that the railway passed through, the railway was built by Cecil John Rhodes in 1899, was actually released from South Africa ownership into Botswana's hands, only in the mid-1980s.
Crocodile Pools River Safaris prides itself on the solar-powered boats, which ensures that there are no gas emissions which are released into the atmosphere, and thus saving the already compromised ozone layer as a result of global warming. Come and enjoy the 2-hour boat cruise and enjoy game viewing along the Notwane River.
The water depth here is about 3 to 4 meters, but when the river floods, the water level goes much, much higher. We all remember back in 2017 the cyclone Danielle and the flood that actually filled the Gaborone Dam from being almost dry to overflowing came through this river system in the middle of the night in February 2017. And the water level then was about 4 meters higher, so it was a meter higher than the roof of this boat. And unfortunately a number of properties on the Botswana side were flooded under 2 meters of water. That happened in the middle of the night. It took about 4 or 5 days before the water levels receded. But of course the great thing as a result of that flood was that Gaborone now had a secure water supply from Gaborone Dam. And it was enough water to actually supply the capital with up to 3 years of water supply if it was not going to rain again. And we're getting quite close now to the crocodiles. So we're very fortunate here at Crocodile Pools River Safaris to have the largest collection of now crocodiles in Botswana in the south of the country. You see behind me here is quite a large male. We have about 12 resident population here in the river system. They've been here for centuries and centuries. The farm back in 1907 when it was established was named Crocodile Pools because the crocodiles have been here for a long, long time. They have nested here, they've laid their eggs, but in 13 years up and down the river I've yet to see the small crocodiles. I suspect that some have hatched, the lucky ones, but they have many predators, including their own adults that eat their young ones, birds and fish that also eat them. So out of 80 eggs that are hatched, you might have one survivor if you're lucky. They're very happy to be here on the South African banks, which is behind me, because this belongs to one large farm in South Africa. And the river is the international border between Botswana and South Africa, and on the South African side we have no people living here, so the crocodiles love the peace and quiet. They don't harm humans, they're as scared of us as we are of them, and they live peacefully, and their main diet are the fish, the barbel, the catfish, the carp and the bream, which are very common here in the river system. They will occasionally take impala and kudu and bushbuck that come down to drink here early morning or late afternoon. We've seen dead kudu in the river along with impala, and Jacob, our boatman, has also seen the crocodile pulling an impala through the water that's been recently killed. So once they've killed the animals, they don't eat the animals immediately. They will allow the animals to lay in the water, usually between 2 tree stumps, to rot and soften, to marinate, if you like, in the water for a few days later for them to eat. They don't eat every day. Sometimes they go for weeks, months without eating. When there's no food available at all and there's very few pools left in the river when it goes dry, they can survive for a long, long time, many, many months without eating. This is one of our largest male crocodiles. He's about 2.5 meters. He's not the largest, but he's now basking nicely and he's joined nicely, as you can see, by another male coming out of the water. Wow. He's bigger, he's fatter, he's obviously had a nice lunch today. The largest crocodile we've seen on this system is just over 3 meters. Crocodiles in Botswana in the north can grow obviously much larger, up to 4 or 5 meters. Once they exceed 3 meters in length, they become a risk for human life. That's when they can actually take on a human in the water. But at this length, they don't really get interested in human beings. It's mostly in small game and the fish.
Notwane River is a sanctuary to most species of animals such as birds, baboons, kudus. It is also home to these giant wild crocodiles. There are about 12 resident population of crocodiles in the Notwane River. These crocodiles have been here for centuries. This quite peaceful and undisturbed territory is now their permanent home. This whole area is called Crocodile Pools because of these crocodiles, which have been here for such a long time. They nest here and lay their eggs. These crocodiles are scared of humans as much as we are scared of them. However, they coexist peacefully with humans and mostly feed on birds and fish in these rivers. On their lucky day, they feed on impalas, kudus, which come down here to drink water, mostly in the morning and late afternoon. Occasionally, dead impalas and kudus are spotted along this river as a result of a deadly encounter with the magnificent beasts. Once they kill their prey, they let it fully rot and marinate in the water for a few days before they can feast. These crocodiles can go for weeks and months without food. They don't eat every day as per our expectations. The largest crocodile ever spotted in this river is about 3 meters long. However, crocodiles in the northern part of Botswana can grow as long as 5 meters.
So, being a safari company, we strongly believe in conservation and protection of the environment. Interestingly, to set up the business, we had to get 5 different permits. Being a 100% citizen-owned company, we're allowed now to operate boat safaris from Ministry of Tourism. But in addition to their permission, we had to get permission from Water Affairs, Water Utilities, the Council, and also Department of Water Affairs. So the dam is actually owned by Water Utilities. And the permission was granted on the basis that we cause no pollution to the environment. So we couldn't run any petrol or diesel engine propellers. So we converted 100% to solar power now. All of our boats, our pontoon boats, are operated by electric motors whose batteries are completely solar powered. We have a special battery charging room and we change the batteries on every trip that goes out. Our cruisers normally operate 2 hours and we go on a 4-kilometer stretch of the Notwane River where we see a beautiful collection of bird life. Fish eagles, herons, egrets. We have lots of ducks and geese. In fact, we have almost 40% of all of Botswana's 580 bird species. On the South African side, because there are no people living over there for about 20 kilometers, the nearest town is Soepenstad. We have a large variety of game. We have bushbuck, we have impala, we have jackals, we have waterbuck, and on one boat occasion we actually saw a leopard as well. We have hyenas there, and we also hear lions, but not from over there, but from the Lion Park Resort, which is just 3 kilometers away further back towards Lobatse. We have Botswana's 4 largest reptiles here on the river as well. We have the Nile crocodile. We currently have a resident population wild crocodiles of about 12, mostly male with the odd female. And we also have the water monitor lizards, which grow up to 2 meters in length. The 3rd largest reptile in Botswana is the rock monitor lizard that stays on land. And then we also have a very large snake, the African rock python, which also swims in the water and comes on land. There have been battles also fought here. You know, as Botswana, we've been very fortunate in that we haven't fought, unlike our neighbours, battles for civil ownership of our countries. The peaceful transition from Bechuanaland to the independent Botswana that happened in 1966 showed that we're a peaceful country. But we had previously fought 2 battles actually within the confines of Bechuanaland at that time. They were both called the Anglo-Boer Wars. The first Boer War from 1866 happened in Dimawe. Unfortunately, the Boer farmer regiments were actually sent back packing to Pretoria. And the second Boer War, which happened from 1899 to 1902. There are about 4 or 5 different battles down the eastern axis of Botswana on the border with South Africa, all the way between Mahalapi and Lobatse. And one of them, the Battle of Crocodile Pools, was actually fought here in February 1900. And the hills behind me, the Sepitswa Hills, were the base for the Boer farmer regiments, who were supported by mercenary German soldiers. And they would attack over here, Mokolodi Hill, Magabi Hill, and Basutu Kop, which is where the British and Rhodesians and Swana forces were based. About 35 people lost their lives in that war, and if you add the other casualties of the other skirmishes I mentioned, about 130 to 140 people lost their lives in the Second Anglo-Boer War. But the winning of Crocodile Pools battle by the British and Rhodesians and Swanas was very important for, obviously, our protection as a country. It meant we could hold on to the land. It meant we were not going to be invaded. And the winning of this battle allowed the railway line, which had actually been blown up by the Boer forces, to be repaired, allowing the armoured trains and the regiments and the guns now to go south down to Mafeking, which the Boers had surrounded for 217 days in what was called the Siege of Mafeking. So by winning now also a battle at Mafeking, it meant that the Swanas and other people living there could actually have their freedom back, and that was the beginning of the end of the Boer War here in Botswana. Crocodiles have been here for centuries. The whole area is called Crocodile Pools Farm, not for a reason. The crocodiles have been here a long time before human. In fact, 150 years ago, before the hunters came up and shot a lot of wildlife out, we had all the big 5 here. Rhino, buffalo, giraffe, hippo, lion, leopard, they were all here. A lot of the animals still remain here, especially on the South African side, which we see on the river cruise. But we're living here in harmony with the nature because we represent a conservation company and we want people to experience living with the animals. If we see a snake here, either in the water or on the land, we let it be. We brush it off on its way into the bush. We don't kill snakes. Okay? The only shooting we allowed here is by photography shoots. We welcome professional photographers, we welcome ornithologists, we welcome people that are interested in game life. And it's just fun for the family. Bring your kids, educate the kids about nature here in Botswana. And it's only just 15 minutes out of Gaborone.
Crocodile Pool Safaris is the perfect weekend getaway for family and friends. Apart from the boat cruise, Crocodile Pools River Safaris offers conference facilities for corporates, team building activities, kids playground, and a deck restaurant where you can order the finger-licking food offered here. Grab lunch or dinner on the deck restaurant while also enjoying the breathtaking view of Notwane River.
There is a giant male crocodile, like a wait, yes. Then you pointed at it. I want something like that. Okay. Let's go on 3, 2, 1.
This is one of our largest male crocodiles. He's about 2.5 meters. He's not the largest, but he's now basking nicely and he's joined nicely, as you can see, by another male coming out of the water. Wow. He's bigger. He's fatter. He's obviously had a nice lunch today. The largest crocodile was... Oh, sorry, okay. I'm moving it. Okay. Can I talk?
Yeah, it's a big guy.
So we're now in June, mid-June, and the water levels are beginning to...
I remember last time you were here, we saw a guy climbing the wall.
Climbing from where?
But he typed in yeah, we're not there. How much is it?
Propeller is not that. You can drive away.
Yeah, it's fine, you can go.
Drone ni siapa kan?
No,
Okay. Kayak